Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to WAVE's online conference on digitalization of public employment services. Thank you for joining us today. This is Sang-Hyun Lee. I'm a research fellow at Korea Employment Information Services. I'm your moderator today, online conference. As a reminder, I ask all the participants on the mute during the conference. Also, I'll let you know this conference is recorded. Without any further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Youngjung Kim, who is the president of Korea Employment Information Service, as well as vice president of WAVES in Asia and Pacific region. He's not with us today, so I'll show his video and his opening remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, respective colleagues and honored guests, good morning or good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us today in this webinar on the digitalization of public employment service, or PES. This topic is at the very core of our mission to revolutionize employment services worldwide with the latest technology. As the Vice President of WAVES and the President of Korea Employment Information Service, it is both an honor and a privilege to welcome you, particularly in a time when our collective knowledge, experience, and commitment towards innovation are crucial in navigating through the complexities of the digital transition in employment services. In our modern tech-driven society, taking PES digital isn't just a good idea, it's an absolute necessity. It ensures we can offer the most effective and accessible services possible. And as we are all aware, the post-COVID world has increased the need for rapid digital transformation, bringing both unique challenges and exciting opportunities. During this webinar, our objectives are evident: to explore the vital role of digitalization in enhancing the delivery and accessibility of employment services, to share insightful case studies and innovative solutions from various nations, to identify and discuss the key challenges and opportunities related to the digitalization of PES, and to facilitate a meaningful exchange of knowledge and expertise among PES professionals and stakeholders. By being here today, you are showing a shared commitment to leading progress and achieving collective milestones on our path to a digitized, inclusive, and robust PES landscape. I'm certain that the perspectives and dialogues we'll engage in today will inspire us all, driving forward innovative solutions and best practices in the field of PES digital transformation. In conclusion, I'm looking forward to productive discussions, clear insights, and team spirit that will surely lead us in our shared journey toward digitizing public employment services in a practical and lasting way. Thank you again for your presence and participation. May our talks today be insightful and our collaborations successful. Enjoy the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. We have a wonderful keynote speakers today. Michael Mwasikakata, he is head of labor market service for transition unit of ILO. He'll deliver the keynote speech on the overview of Asia-Pacific digitalization, policies, and trends. So Michael, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lee. Let me try to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen, but you have to like show. Yes, good, very good.
Thank you very much. Indeed, my name is Michael Mwasikakata, and I work for the ILO. I'm very pleased to be here today, and I'm thankful that the organizers invited the ILO to participate in this very important seminar that looks at a very critical subject of digitalization. So I will just quickly to look at what I'm going to talk about. I'll practically just give a quick overview of the digitalization, the position or the state of digitalization in Asia Pacific, and this is based on the recent survey that we conducted, and thanks to the countries, many countries that contributed to this survey. We conducted last year. We started last year and we finished this year. And also, I'll also include the findings of a similar study. It was done by the same consultant in Latin America. So just to give it a sort of a comparison. So I'll look at the global findings. We also did a study in 2020 on digitalization at the global level. So I just give the key findings at the global level, and then I'll go into the in details of the Asia Pacific conclusion, and then I move on to conclusions. So just to give a quick overview, and as I said, it's the same consultant who did this for Latin America, so it's Dr. William Patterson. So this is the framework for a digital maturity framework. Basically that labor markets are influenced and do not act in a vacuum. They are influenced by different factors. So as we have seen in many cases, that countries that have overall, digitalization policies at the national level tend to have also their public employment services adopting more digital services, and which is also, affected by different factors, including external factors, like we all know about COVID-19, that it did accelerate the adoption of digital services. So in terms of the framework of analysis, it starts from that an employment service digitalization would have to start with a digital strategy. So as to, digital strategy about the back office, about the front office in terms of delivery of services to the customers and customization of services, and being public employment services, being a data organization, a collector and a processor of data and a user of data in its organization, and also becoming a digital organization. So the beginning would be a digital strategy, but in real life, I think digital adoption, it happens in stages. So we start with the back office. This one has been the process so far. If you look at the adoption of technology, it has been the back office, then front office, then use of data. Then, of course, once you are getting towards maturity, you now have an overall strategy and then change the whole organization. But it doesn't have to follow like this. I mean, this has been the evolution. But at the moment, I think the emphasis is to have a digital strategy so that you can have, you can fit all these places, all these back office, front office, and use of data in a sort of an organization that is overall digital. And I think this is important in that also the finding that we'll get to later on, it has been shown that adopting digital services is not a panacea, it's not the end. It has to be followed by organizational aspects, soft aspects, in order to make the digital strategy work. So in terms of the flow, I think most of you know this already, that you move from digitization to digital transformation. And the maturity of employment services actually has been measured on whether at what stage public employment services are. Are they still digitizing services where just making materials digital, or they're making services and processes digital, or they're at a stage where the whole organization has actually transformed into a digital organization. So as I said earlier, all studies show that public employment services digital maturity is normally a function of the country's overall technology adoption. Nonetheless, it's not a one-to-one relationship. So some countries may still advance in digital adoption of digital technology, or public employment services may advance in the adoption of digital technologies, even though they are a bit backward compared to others in terms of overall digital adoption at the country level. So I'll go into the global findings. I'll just pick a few aspects of the findings there because we don't have much time. So first, we found out that almost all, about these 69 public employment services that responded, all of them are using digital services, at one level or another. But there was a great deal of variation as expected. Some are at the beginning of digitization, others are at the digital transformation stage. And another finding basically was that more intense use of digital technology is necessary to deliver services, but we found out that not all actually digital services, not all public employment services had actually migrated the full set of their services to digital. So basically, that there was somewhat in almost all, there was a combination of full digital services and also use of other means of channel, other means of channels to deliver digital services. Now, again, adopting the web-based technology was not enough to facilitate service delivery. There were also other factors, as I said. A digital organization needs to also adopt other soft aspects in order for it to be able to become fully transformed into a digital organization. Okay, and also there was a general finding that artificial intelligence capabilities are still limited in many of the public employment services. There are a few that have moved to full digitalization, and are using the artificial intelligence. I think many are now moving towards adopting artificial intelligence, but it is a journey that must be taken according to each country's capabilities. If I now move on to the Asia Pacific study that we undertook in 2022 and finalized 2023. We looked at, I will just focus here on the organization of the survey. We looked at three parts. One was the role of digital technologies in public employment services in general. And then since it was in relation to youth, we also looked at the youth services and programs. And then the role of technologies for youth. So basically looking at technologies, how public employment services are using technology to design and deliver services for youth. Now, in this presentation, I will look at 1 and 2, basically generally digital technologies in PES, but also digital technologies for youth. If we go back to our framework, so I'll organize the presentation along this framework. Basically, we look at the digital strategy, the full adoption of a digital strategy, and in fact, for countries that have a digital strategy in place, they tend to be also at a higher level of digital maturity. And then we'll look at the technologies for the back office, technologies for the front office, and data adoption, and also then those who have reached digital transformation, making their public employment services a digital organization. So overall, if we look at the strategic level, the findings were that many public employment services are still digitalizing. They have moved a bit from digitization to digitalizing. So basically, they are digitalizing their services and processes. If about 18%, basically, this is all these surveys were self-reported. So these are the self-declarations from public employment services that were surveyed. So 18% considered themselves in the digital transformation. 73% in Asia, public employment services that we participated in the survey in Asia Pacific region said that they were digitalizing, and 9% said they were still at the beginning of digitalization. So they are basically digitizing their services at the beginning. And I found that the same question was asked by the consultant in Latin America. If we compare with Asia Pacific, you see that in Latin America, 63% were still digitalizing, and only, of course, 19% considered themselves as having reached the digital transformation. What is interesting in Latin America is that a similar survey was undertaken in 2019, and the figure for digitalization actually had moved from 56% to 63%, meaning that COVID-19 had also played a great part here in increasing the level of digitalization in public employment services. Now, if we look at the still at level of maturity, if you look at, at overall and national level, about over 62% or 63% of all the countries surveyed in Asia Pacific had a national strategy on the digitalization strategy. But in terms of PES, it was about 55%. At 55% of the countries surveyed had a national digital strategy. Comparing this at the survey that was conducted in 2016 at the EU level, again by the same consultant, so I think the methodology is pretty much close. You see that only about 64% of the countries that participated in the survey there had a clear digitalization strategy. So the figures, of course, you expect for PES in the EU that are much more mature to also have a greater digitalization rate. So this is also obvious, but I think the main message here is that this happens gradually. Still not all have a clear digitalization strategy, 64% in 2016. One can assume now that at this stage, the percentage must be much higher, especially with COVID-19. Okay, again, within Asia, if we look at the consultant did compare, we compared for the countries that participated in the 2020 survey, with the with the results of the 2022 survey. And as you can see, and this we compared in terms of the drivers, what were the motivations for adoption of digital services. And we realized that, in most cases, I think due to the impact of COVID, many countries actually increased their digitalization in the employment services. And the reasons expanding employment services remained the top, basically expanding the scope, reaching out to many people, and also increasing performance. What I found very interesting, though, was the lowering costs. In the 2020 study, 11% of the countries in Asia that were surveyed said, they did so, they adopted digital services to lower costs. But with COVID, actually 60% did that to lower costs, because at that moment they wanted to reach out to people, and they wanted to reach out to people at a lower cost. So you see, external factors can actually change the motivation of different employment services. Okay, so what were the main obstacles towards digitalization? Again, here I've found the comparison between Asia Pacific and Latin America very interesting. In both cases, it's the lack of financial resources. We know that is a common problem everywhere, irrespective of the level of development. It's just the degree of the problem that differs. So in Asia, siloing, that is lack of coordination and integration, is a major problem. You don't find that is the list of the top 8 problems in Latin America. But customer resistance and resistance to digitalization is very important in Latin America. That does not appear anywhere among the top 8 in Asia. So basically, what is important is indeed to understand the factors, the obstacles clearly in each country, in each region, to be able to deal with the obstacles and move forward with digitalization. Again, an interesting area would be, okay, if countries really accelerated their digitalization, did the budgets increase or decrease after COVID? Because we know that COVID accelerated the adoption of digital services. Interestingly, yeah, we find that in Asia Pacific, 54% or 55% actually had the budget increased. 34% remained the same, and only 9% of the countries it actually decreased. If we compare with the LAC, the increase was in 29% of the countries, and 24% stayed the same, and 41% actually decreased. So the trend there, you see the trends are different between the two regions, and just shows, of course, the differences also in the level of digitalization and priorities. Okay, I'll move a bit quickly here, because now we are going at back office, front office, and then the digital services adoption. If we look at, again, I'll just compare and move quickly. The back office digitalization is in many countries adopted. 55% of countries in Asia Pacific have got a back office digitalization strategy, and 55% had the standards for architecture. However, only a quarter had the PES-wide IT system, so there's still some fragmentation in terms of the PES IT systems. Almost the same is the case in Latin America, and with much lower figures in each of these. What was interesting there in Latin America is that they tend to have a centralized unit responsible for the IT system. So it will not be easy. It will be easier for them to sort of adopt a PES-wide system when time comes. In terms of front offices, in Asia Pacific, the percentage of digital services in the front office is lower than the back office. We see here that 45% have got a channel strategy, 45% has got a regular strategy division, and only a quarter actually analyze, have a channel usage analysis, which I think could be easily improved. Okay, in terms of, if we compare again with the Latin America, the trend seemed to be similar, with Asia Pacific having a bit more advanced in terms of adoption of digital technologies in the front office. So in terms of which channel to use, there has been a very diverse usage of channel, from simple web portals to new channels for new clients. We have, of course, use of social media like WeChat in China, the digital assistant in Australia. I'm sure we will have this explained in the presentation by Australia. And the decision basically, what the study found out was that the decision of which channel to adopt should be dependent on the capacity of the PES, and also the benefits that can be, achieved by usage of this of each channel. It is important to assess this in a sober manner, so that we don't just adopt something that works elsewhere, which will not work in the context of the country in question. In terms of data, many public employment services are adopting strategies for data, for processing of data, for collection of data, dissemination of data, and using that data for management, and also for designing services for their clients, for the job seekers and for employers. And in this study in the Asia Pacific, a minority of PES have an integrated and cohesive digital strategy. So most countries are still in the process of adopting and integrating data management in their systems. With regard to advanced analytics, as we would expect, there is progress. About 20% or 10% of the countries actually have adopted advanced analytics. I think this is an area, it's an area where artificial intelligence is coming in, and it is mostly the advanced PES that are adopting the AI into their services. So it is at the beginning, it's a journey. I think it's good that public employment services have started adopting artificial intelligence and using it in their services. In terms of organization and innovation, which is the last part, looking at the overall adoption or digital transformation. Again, the adoption there is a bit at the lower stage. Inclusion programs and safety for job seekers digital services is a bit more advanced. 45% of the countries are doing that, but in terms of a strategy for employee digital skills training is low, or this strategy is low. Cultural change programs, I think 36% of the countries, so at least there are efforts. So basically the conclusion, there are efforts going on to ensure that digital organizations, public employment services, transform themselves into a digital organization, but the journey is just beginning, and it is in the right course. So in terms of youth, I think I'll just summarize here due to time, is that we found that there are few dedicated services or technologies for youth. However, there are technologies that are developed that are tailored at the youth in terms of social media channels, in terms of subgroups for social media and also youth web portals. So it is, again, the trend shows that the region is moving ahead, and it's probably moving ahead at a faster pace than other regions, particularly if we compare with the Latin American region where we do have the data. And if we look at, for example, at social robots in terms of use of AI for youth services, almost, in most cases, there is about 25% of the countries that have adopted spatial robots apps and dedicated mobile apps. Of course, no country said that they have adopted AR and VR at the moment. So in terms of conclusions, I hope I'm still within my time. The 11 countries that we surveyed, we saw that they recognize the role of technology development and they are committed to moving forward. Resource availability remains a main problem. And I think this applies to every public employment services to different degrees, and that digital capacity and awareness of staff organizations does constrain the full adoption. So again, the skills development should accompany adoption of digital technologies, otherwise it wouldn't be successful. PES also in the region could benefit from increased attention to organizational aspects of digital transformation, breaking through the silos and cultural change. As I said, it was observed that siloing was one of the major problems in the region compared to Latin America. Advanced analytics is still at the beginning, maybe something that could be looked at going ahead. In terms of, there were very few youth-dedicated channels. Where feasible, these could be considered so that the youth can engage more actively and also increase the usage of the service of the public employment services. Again, back office technologies seem to be more general without, and maybe they could be more tailored towards the youth, the needs of the youth. I think I'll stop there. The conclusions for LAC, I think it can be read from the presentation. Thank you very much. I stop here, back to the moderator.
Thank you very much, for the wonderful keynote speech, Michael. You delivered a great insight for the strategic digital transformation of public employment service in Asia and the Pacific region. Also, it is a good takeaway that we need to break the silos and cultural changes in the organization to proceed the transformation of the digital. Okay, we have a session now. I want to start the session 1. We have two great presenters on the session 1. First of all, first presentation is Workforce Australian Online Services. I introduce Ms. Melissa Hyon, who is first Assistant Secretary, Department of Employment and Workplace Relations, Australia. Melissa, floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair, and it's a privilege and an honour to be here today. I'll just share my screen if I may. Hopefully this will work. Maybe not. Hang on. Hang on. Why isn't it not working? Hang on. Share my screen. Just a moment, sorry. Technical issue. So I'm just going to have to pause for a second because it doesn't want to look like it wants to share my screen, which is a bit annoying. Can you see that yet?
No, we can't.
Okay, that's not good.
여기서 쉐어하실 파일이 있어.
Just doesn't want me to do it. Hang on. I wonder if you could skip and I can come back, because I don't think I'm going to be able to share my screen, I'm afraid. Not sure why. Very disappointing.
Melissa, if you want, we can try to share the screen for you.
That would be great if you could. Apologies.
Yeah, I will try.
You have my presentation.
Yes. Just... Sorry, didn't seem to be working. I will try again. And Dr. Sanyang, you are muted also. Sorry.
Is the presentation file ready? Not yet.
Yeah, hopefully you can see it now.
Yeah,
Yes,
I can see that.
Apologies. I'll be quick because I know I've eaten into people's other time. Do I need to do something now, Amadine, like to get that to go full screen?
Go to full screen, please.
Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, hopefully some, okay. Not sure how to do that. Okay, so apologies. So my presentation this afternoon is a reflection of the earlier presentation in regards to post-COVID era, where we acknowledge that the digitisation of government services is becoming the norm, as reflected in that ILO presentation a moment ago. And Australian research and evidence has shown that the inclusion of an online service is an integral component of modern employment services systems that at the same time complement a face-to-face service as well. And as I said earlier, it's a pleasure to be here today to talk to you about Australia's experiences with introducing digital services as part of our mainstream employment services program. And in my presentation, I'll briefly touch on our digital journey, an overview of Workforce Australia, our new employment services system, key components of Workforce Australia Online, along with some key challenges and opportunities that we are undertaking and can see coming forward over the next 12 months. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to move the screen. That's the only issue that I'm going to have here.
No, sorry, I'm trying to move it also.
Okay, thank you.
but on full page, it seems to be blacked. So I'm sorry.
Oh,
I will go back.
That's all right. That's my problem. Okay, thank you. In this slide here, this is to highlight to you that in Australia, we have tested the feasibility of online services through a range of trials and services which led to the introduction of Workforce Australia in July last year. But we started this journey in roughly in July, well, in 2018. And some of the factors that drove our trialling of online services were that we were very mindful that that the way people now look for work and how employers connect with potential employees had changed, with employment opportunities increasingly being sourced from online job boards. Participants in our employment services with low levels of labour market disadvantage, i.e. that were closer to the labour market and that were capable of finding their own pathway to employment, were likely to source their own employment independent of the use of any employment services providers. Funding, also we acknowledge that funding services for participants with low levels of labour market disadvantage who didn't require that additional assistance does save costs. Departmental research found that greater investment was, however, required for participants who had been in our caseload for many, many years, were further distant from the labour market, and were requiring, and we needed to further redirect some of that funding and investment to those in order to receive higher levels of support and interventions. We also concluded it was a more cost-effective service to participants with low levels of labour market disadvantage online. And as I said, we redirected a number of those funds to be able to enhance our outsourced provider service to those provider services to those participants that needed more interventions and support. The first trial here as commenced, the online employment services trial, was implemented in 2018 and assessed the feasibility and effectiveness of delivering employment services online, and testing its usability and whether or not it resulted in employment outcomes. With the onset of COVID in 2020, we suspended that trial. However, we also concurrently launched what was called our new employment services trial in 2019, and that tested and refined recommendations from a previous expert panel on the future of employment services, which recommended exploring the use of online technology. And that trial, the new employment services trial, included both testing new settings to support participants in face-to-face servicing and also a new digital servicing offer. Finally, in response to an increase in the number of people registering for employment services due to COVID-19 and the significant displacement of people due to lockdowns, in April 2020, the department rolled out our employment services model, which has become our mainstream feature now of employment services in Australia. Building on the learnings of the various trials in Workforce Australia Online, commenced on the 4th of July last year, and as I said, is a key element of the new Workforce Australia Employment Services model. Overall, departmental analysis of the trials found that digital services to be effective and efficient in enabling job-ready and digitally capable participants to self-manage their job search online. But we are also very conscious that online employment services is not suitable for everyone. In our evaluation and our surveys, we found that there are particular cohorts of job seekers that are not suited to online servicing. They include those with low levels of digital literacy, those that lack the skills and confidence to search for jobs online, and are more likely to, and what we found then is they're more likely to experience difficulties navigating our online employment services arrangements. We also identified that some participants in particular cohort groups are less likely to be successful in online servicing. That includes those that are older participants, people with lower levels of English proficiency, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander participants, people with disability, and people who have difficulty generally navigating the labour market. If I could maybe move to the next slide, that would be appreciated. Thank you. This slide here really just shows you an overview of the two servicing levels that we rolled out last July to support individuals and businesses through what we call our Workforce Australia system. For participants and businesses, they can access workforceaustralia.gov.au and a Workforce Australia app via what we in Australia have used, which is a MyGov account. And it's not only available for those participants that are in receipt of income support, but any Australians that have got a MyGov account can log on and use some of the services available online. Only those, though, on income support are eligible for servicing through Workforce Australia online, and they also have access to a range of other supports to assist them in their pathway to employment. In essence, in July 2022, we introduced what I describe as a bifurcated model, which features online servicing and employment servicing provider services for those that need more intensive, tailored support. For Workforce Australia Online, we've rolled out and leverage assessment tools to assess whether or not a participant is appropriate for being in our online system. We assess them as whether or not they are job ready. They're asked a series of questions as to whether or not they are digitally capable of being able to support themselves online. And if they answer in the affirmative, they are then referred to online services for support in looking for work. It's a fairly light touch service, but they have access, participants, to a range of online learning modules and initiatives. Businesses can recruit individuals through the online platform, but at any time, individuals who are referred into online, who are in receipt of income support, can elect to move to a provider and have that face-to-face support at any stage, so that they don't fall behind and become a risk of becoming long-term unemployed. Likewise, in the online service, participants can also contact our Digital Services Contact Centre, which is a national call centre where they can get participants can receive assistance in relation to what we call their mutual obligations, their responsibilities, where they can access some financial support to help them to secure a job. And we also have what's a digital assistant as well, which is a virtual assistant to be able to help people as well on their own kind of pathway at 24/7, rather than relying on calling a contact centre or emailing that, which is operating Monday to Friday, standard business hours. In contrast, for Workforce Australia's services, that's a service that's available for individuals who also are on income support, have mutual obligation requirements, i.e. they're obliged to look for work and undertake a number of tasks, but they receive more personalised support and face-to-face support from providers. And the intent of that is that providers work with individuals to help them to get job ready, overcome any vocational and non-vocational barriers, and to facilitate connection of those job seekers with businesses that are looking to employ suitable candidates. Providers have a range of tools and supports in their toolkit to help participants on their pathway to employment. We expect them to provide mentoring, training and career coaching to facilitate opportunities for work experience and job placements, to provide more tailored support for particular cohorts such as youth, mature age, refugees, etc. And another expectation of the Workforce Australia services providers is to also support those participants who may have been placed into a role with employers into post-placement support, also providing financial assistance for businesses taking on those participants through wage subsidies and the like. I'll move on to the next slide, if I may. On this slide here, this is just an overview of what our features are for Workforce Australia online participants. As I mentioned earlier, we absolutely assess whether or not a person is suitable for online services, and the criteria for that is that they identify as job ready, they're digitally literate, and they're assessed as being capable of finding work without the assistance of a provider. Assessments are undertaken to understand the participants' individual circumstances, including their skills, experience, any labour market disadvantage they may be facing, and their capacity to work. And then accordingly, in Australia, in exchange for income support, a person needs to meet a particular set of mutual obligation requirements, and that's also reflected of the expectation when they're online. They're also expected to undertake mutual obligation requirements as well. There's a range of safeguards in place to support those participants as in their pathway to employment. The Digital Services Contact Centre, in supporting those participants who are in Workforce Australia Online, is a key support and safeguard, and so every interaction a participant may have with the contact centre is generally an opportunity to discuss a person's circumstances, whether or not they've changed, whether or not we need to make some reductions or waivers of mutual obligation requirements, and also making it's an opportunity to really continue to assess whether or not a participant who is in online, whether or not it's still appropriate for them to continue to be in online services, or whether or not it's determined that they may be better off being referred to a provider for that more intensive support. I think collectively we would agree that we don't want people to stay in a service being at risk of becoming left behind. So those interventions are a really great opportunity to really ascertain whether or not participants should continue online, or whether or not we should exit them and move them to a provider for more tailored support. We've also built into our system for online services a couple of safety checkpoints. So at 4 months, so for participants in online services, we also have a maximum time in duration. It's 12 months unless a participant is actually working or studying, and they can stay in service for an additional 6 months. But the maximum time in online for most participants is 12 months. And we have, as I said, built in a few safeguards. So at 4 months and 8 months, we'll continue to do a digital service review to ensure that a person still is feeling confident, capable of using online services. And depending on the nature of their responses to those questions, they'll be encouraged to either continue to stay in the system, but maybe referred to a range of other activities and support that might help them to find employment, or alternatively, they may have a conversation to encourage with the contact centre to encourage them to exit to a provider where they can get further support. That's, if we could move to the next slide, please.
Elisa, please wrap up.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. So I might flip over then to just the last one then, if I may, just in terms of key opportunities and challenges. So that's slide 8. Sorry to keep up. As I said, the maturity of the system, we're just starting to see after 12 months, the system's working. What we can see is a large proportion of our caseload that's referred into online will exit within 6 months. And the reasons they exit online are largely due to reasons of finding their own pathway to employment. So it verifies or validates our position that it may not be appropriate to refer those job-ready participants to providers' services. As I said, we're always looking at ways to enhance the safeguards for participants to ensure that they don't become at risk of becoming long-term unemployed. The government recently, last month, released a white paper into employment that will have impacts on how we deliver employment services. And also the government has initiated a first principles review into Workforce Australia and public employment services. So we anticipate that that will have change some of the direction and the approach that we've been taking to date in delivery of employment services. But these are all great opportunities for us to do further investment in our platform and to improve the support and services that are available to participants, and also better connections to businesses who are still in need of finding people to support them in filling critical roles and so forth. So I will conclude my presentation now then, Chair.
Thank you, Melissa. I was quite impressed that you even have a digital service contact center. I learned that Australian government is really enthusiastic and quite advanced in digital transformation. Session 1, we have a second presenters on digitalization of public employment services in Cambodia. Ms. Cheachanmolika, Acting Director General of National Employment Agency of Ministry of Labor and Vocational Training, will deliver the presentation. Thank you very much. Och, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Lee. Greeting from Cambodia. Can you hear me well?
Very well.
Okay, I will share my screen. Everyone can see my screen now?
Yes. Make a full screen.
Yes, I will start now. So, greeting from Cambodia. First of all, I would like to express my sincere thanks to Web that gave me the opportunity to join the webinar on the digitalization of the public employment service. So today I will present about the digitalization of the public employment service in Cambodia. So this is my content for the presentation. I would like to start with the overview of my organization, and then I will continue with what are the digitalized of the NEA services, and the third I will present about some challenges for moving forward to the digitalized services, and the last one, what is the plan for more development in the digitalized. So this is some background of the National Employment Services that's called NEA, was established since 2019 and fully functioned in 2010. And NEA also joins, also was the member of the World Association of Public Employment Service, PEPS, in 2013. So NEA has two main roles. The first one, we provide the employment service that's refer to the jobs registrations, providing the counseling, job matching, etc. And the second role, we provide the labor market information. We collect, compile, and analyze and disseminate the information. So these two main roles, or these two services, we provide to the three targets customer. The first, that is the employer, and the second, the job seeker, and the last one, the education and training provider. So we provide the services through two main, two main options, two main modality. The first one we provide through the job center. It's the physical job center that now we have 13 in the province and one in the capital city. And we also have five mobile job center. That's mobile and the services to all the provinces for the whole country. And also we focus also the technologies. We have our own website that you can see on the screen. And also we disseminate the services to the Facebooks. And also we develop our own application that called an job search. And you will see for the details for our technology to provide the services. So this is our website that you can see the links in the screen. So we have 3 screens, the laptop, tablets, and also the phones. And for the website, we have 2 types of the users. The first one, we have the external user, that's the job seeker, the employers, the training provider, and also the public who visits the general, who can find the general information. So for the job seeker, they can find a jobs opportunity in the websites. They can post or upload their CV, and they can search for the employer that they would like to apply for a job. And for the employer, they can post their vacancy in the website, and they can search for the job seeker if they are interested and wants the qualified job seeker to do in their company. And for the training provider, they can announce or upload their training program to our website. So some student or some youth that they want to find the information regarding the training course, they can find through the NEA website. And for the other side, it's also for the internal use. It means that we can, for the job center, we can operate or manage the performance of the operation of the job center, so that we can get also the report, or we can also check some operation in our website, or some operation of each job center staff. Yes, this is you can see that the job seeker, I just briefed previously that they can do the job search, they can register and their profile and post the CV, or they can apply for a job and can find the internship through the website, and they can match or it means that they can find there's the employer that they would like to apply for, and also they can get the employment career counseling services through the website. As you can see in each function in the website, that we have one function that called career counseling, so they can get the information regarding on the career. And we also have some video to explain about what is the career plan, what they should do if they want to be something like that. And for the employer, they can register for their profile or upload their vacancy, and the employer can disseminate the information regarding the vacancy in the website.
Ouch, I think we lost Ouch, disconnected. So let's wait couple of 1 minute, and we'll see how it goes. Let's wait 15, 30 seconds for her to come back. and finish her presentation. Okay, we are having a session 1, digitalization of public employment services in Cambodia. The presenter is Miss Cheachanmolika. Temporarily, she is disconnected. We'll wait about 30 seconds, and if she not come back, we wrap up her presentation and go to a question and answer session. So please be patient, like 30 seconds. I know that I have collaborated with the NEA for decades, and Minister Chon Hong is my old friend, and he's really enthusiastic and concerned on digitalization. And in terms of digitalization, NEA is really sincere and developed for a long history of time, because limited human resources in Cambodia, NEA is really focused on digitalization for decades. So they have plenty of experience in digitalization service as well as mobile service. So I think we lost Ouch. Let's wait another 10 seconds and go for the question and answer session. So if you have so far, if for the first presenter, Workforce Australia and Online Services, if you have any question, please raise your hands and unmute and speak the question. Okay, let's take a question. If you have any question for the first session 1, Workforce Australia Online Service, you can ask question, okay? Melissa, I would like to ask one question for you. How do you know that the digitalization of employment services is working?
Thank you, Chair, and a good question, because we frequently get asked that, and to see whether or not it is working and it is effective. What I can say is that what we can see is from our evaluation and evidence that a large proportion of those participants that are streamed or identified and assessed to be appropriate for online servicing will exit employment services, the online system, within the first 6 months of being on income support. And the reason that they're exiting is largely due to finding employment. So that was what we're trying to establish, that they are leaving. So we've assessed them as the most capable of being able to self-manage their path to employment, maybe with some support from our digital services contact centre, but they are exiting for reasons strongly linked to finding employment. So previously, prior to Workforce Australia, and previously probably prior to COVID in 2020, those participants would have been referred to an outsourced provider to support them, and we are no longer referring those participants to providers, but through those more kind of cost-effective methods, we've been able to redirect some of those savings to more intensive provider servicing. So it's working as we envisaged. But still a lot of debate about how long a participant should be online. At the moment, it's 12 months. But do we think maybe we need to adjust that time setting to 6 months if a person is still not finding employment?
Any question from the floor, audience? There's some question on the chat box. One is digitalization of a PES a compulsory transition for PES in today's world of work? I read for the chat box. Melissa?
I'm not sure if I understand. Could you repeat the question? Thank you. So it's about how about...
It's about the maybe it's for the Michael. Is the digitalization of a PES a compulsory transition for PES in today's world of work? I think it's
It
for
might be
Michael.
better for Michael. Yeah, I mean, we've adopted it, but Michael may have a better, I mean, I don't think it's, well, it's our service model now, but in Australia, but Michael, you may have a different, you know, experience through your ILO studies.
Thank you, Sanyan and Marissa. Yeah, well, it's not compulsory. Maybe no. It's imperative. It's necessary. I don't imagine that you would have a country that a public employment services that would do without digitalization. So, in this age, it is a necessary and near imperative. As I said, when we did the global survey, all the 69 public employment services that responded had at least one or two services digitized. The same with Asia Pacific, and I think the same with LAC countries, Latin American, Caribbean countries. So I would say yes, it is something that we can't avoid. I don't think any public employment services can avoid if it is to keep up with the pace of the changing world of work.
Thank you, Michael. Another interesting question for Melissa is, what is the current status of the use of artificial intelligence in PES Australia, especially online service for customer? Artificial intelligence, how you incorporate into your services?
Thank you. Good question. It's fair to say that for our current Workforce Australia digital platform, we aren't actually using artificial intelligence at this point in time. We're still a little bit further away from that. We use some of it in our digital assistant in terms of learning machines, but the whole concept of AI is something that we're still exploring. Particularly and very cognizant of not rolling something out before we fully understand the implications for ensuring safeguards about not building in vulnerability or bias indicators. So our platform as it stands now does not leverage AI at this point in time.
Thank you for your wonderful answer. We got some more minutes. Can you get some other questions, Melissa?
You would like me to answer some more questions?
Yes. Yes. How about job counseling online in Australian system?
Good question. So, so for our online service, it is assessed that those participants on there are largely able to manage their own kind of career coaching. Now, that doesn't mean to say they can't call our contact centre and get some support, but our contact centre staff are not trained online career coaches or counselling, so we can refer them to some services. But we've had mixed experiences with those referral pathways. But the cohort that we're supporting are largely those that can find their own pathways. So being able to have job counselling is maybe not something that we're offering at this point in time. But if participants have been in our caseload in online for 4 months and don't appear to be making any sort of progress, they might be kind of stuck, they are referred to a program called Employability Skills Training, where they can connect with an external provider to help them to maybe refocus on the type of resumes they're preparing, how they can tailor them better to particular industries and so forth. But that's an external provider that we leverage rather than delivering online job counselling per se.
Is there any question on the floor? You can unmute and ask a question directly. if there is not, I have another question from chat box. What is the future digital transformation outlook for Workforce Australia? Is the utilization of advanced technology will be more developed?
Thank you. I think I touched at the very end when I was talking about some challenges and opportunities. As the Australian Government commissioned a select committee first principles review into employment services, and they have been examining the efficacy of online servicing and whether or not we need to further investment in our digital platform and the utilisations of more advanced technology. That committee is due to report at the end of November this year. So I would encourage WAPES members to look out to see where the findings of that or those recommendations from that committee may come. Government will then consider those recommendations, but there would be a strong emphasis on continuing, absolutely, to continue to roll out and enhance our online servicing, and that will require further investment from government, and it may require some more kind of support and services to assist those participants. So yeah, the future is there. It will continue. I don't think we'll go back. We won't revert back. We'll continue to enhance and build on the systems and technology we currently have in place.
Ouch is back, and so we will finish her presentation. Ouch, are you there? Ouch, are you back? No? 나는 안 들려. 그럼 됐어. 하고 있어? 들리는데? 여기는 안 들려. 이 화면. 다른 사람들은 들려? 보여 화면에? Ouch, I cannot see you. Please show your face and presentation material. Welcome back. We cannot see your presentation. Ouch. 어때요? 지금 들리는데.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Sorry for
Welcome back.
disconnected. Yes, I don't know. Maybe my laptop is a bit error. Can anyone share the screen?
Yes, I will do so.
Now your presentation is back, so you can start to
Yes,
talk, I guess.
I tried to connect from my phone, and last time I don't know where I stopped this slide, right?
Yes, you're right.
Yes, so as I just briefly about the customer that use the NA website, we have a job seeker, employers, and training providers. So can you move to the next slide? Yes, this is the career fair online platform. This platform was developed since during the COVID-19, as we cannot organize the big event of the career fair. And then we initiate to create the online platform that can allow the job seeker or an employer to meet each other through the online platform. So in this career fair online platform, they can apply, can search and interview during the fair. Yes, can move to the next slide, please. Yes, so besides the websites and applications, so we besides the website and online career fair online platform, we also have the applications. The first one, we developed the NA job search apps that the job seeker can search for a job, can apply, and can save the jobs that they are interested, and then they save, and then they can apply.
I think we disconnected again with Och. We lost her. So we'll wait a couple of minutes. I think we lost Och. The connection is not good with the Cambodian area. So it happens to some of the faces.
Sorry. Yes, yes.
Welcome back.
Yes. Sorry for. Yes. So for the career fair, we also have the application, and for another app that we call soft skill apps. It's developed also during the COVID-19, and this app was supported by ILOs that we support the female worker that are in the suspense factory. So when they get support, when they get the fund support from the ILO, they need to join the soft skill training through this application. So after complete the training, they can get the fund support from the ILO. So for the next slide, please. For next slide, please. Next slide, yeah. And for another one, because I think that I might take more time. Yes. So besides the application, we also disseminate the information through some social media channel. We also have our own YouTube channel and TikToks and Telegram. It's very famous in Cambodia that, for example, through the Telegram channel, we can disseminate many information through this channel. So for the next slide. Yes, this is some numbers that the job seeker and the customer or the user that's follows our digital platform, that we have website, mobile apps, Facebook, YouTube, TikToks, and Telegrams. As you can see on the screens, the Telegram, we have 19 one one case subscriber that we can provide the information, especially through the jobs opportunities. For the next slide, please. Yes, but we also have some challenges regarding the digitalized services. As you know, that most not all the user or people that can access especially the people in the rural area cannot access to the employment service system. It means that cannot access to the website because of the internet connection, or we can say the digital literacy, something like that. And another that's we also have the limits the capacity, limits the staff.
I think we lost Ouch again. So we'll wait a couple of seconds for her. I think she's keep coming back. That's a good news. We got about 3 minutes for this session, first session actually. So it's almost running out of time. So if she's not come back in a minute, we'll go for the second session. So we'll wait till like a couple of minutes for her to finish up her presentation. I think the internet condition is not good in Cambodia right now. It happens when we have global conferences. Some country has a bad connection, and sometimes we lost the speakers. We'll see. Okay, without further ado, let's go for the session 2. We have also 2 presenters on the session 2. First presentation is Emploi Store, which is digital platform tool for employment and training. I'll introduce as a presenter, Mr. Antoine BAYLE, Head of Open Innovation for Emploi, Mr. Alexandre MILLET, Deputy Head of Open Innovation for Emploi. Floor is yours.
Hello, thank you. Hello, everyone. Just need to set. I'm very pleased to be here with you today. Before leaving the stage to Alexandre, we will give you more details about what is the Emploi Store and how it operates. I'm going to tell you a little bit about why Pôle Emploi has an Emploi Store. It all starts with a strategic plan called Pôle 2015, which points out the need for a way to accelerate the digital transformation of Pôle Emploi. This led to a design thinking lab to address this topic, and the idea for the Emploi Store came out. The Emploi Store is meant to provide a self-care platform to job seekers who are autonomous in their job research. It's also used by our counselor in one-to-one interaction with less autonomous job seekers. This way, our counselor can focus their action on those who need it the most. Finally, this platform is also used by currently employed people who are considering changing job or simply improving their skill. Since then, the Emploi store has grown a lot. We published a new version 1 year ago. We take a great consideration to the user experience and customer journey. And now Alexandre will give you more operational and organizational details.
Hello, everyone.
Alexandre, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. It's nice to have invited us, and we're really happy to join you today. I will just tell you a few things about the Emploi store, how we operate it, how we built it, and maybe if you're interested into having something similar in your own PES, we'll give you a few pointers about the organization we have to run it. So first thing to know is the Emploi store is a web platform centralized for free or freemium websites and mobile apps. So in the general area of employment and training. The idea is to use a lot of external services which are provided by external providers, may it be a private sector or other public institutions. So we don't actually do everything ourselves. We use the strength of the collective of employment and training in France. This leads us to having a bit more than 230 online services, and there are, as you can see on the presentation, 6 main themes in which they are stored. So choose a profession, upskill and reskill, prepare for a job application, find a job, start a business, or work abroad. And as you can see on the bottom, about 1/4 of all the services in there are actually Pôle emploi services, and the rest is private or other public sector services that are hosted on our platform. Since the rebuild that Antoine mentioned last year, we added what we call the user journeys, which are actually based on getting into the users' moments of life and what they want to do actually. So you can see here the 6 we have developed so far, and in each of them, there's a step-by-step methodology of what kind of services should be used to be able to prepare for the target we have. So on each step, you will find a selection of services here on the bottom right, which can apply to this specific step of the methodology. It's a new way to access the different services based on really the user motivation to access the platform. Why are you here? So as I said earlier, this is the updated data. We have currently 231 services listed on the platform. Between MOOCs, serious games, different kinds of tool, quizzes, social networks, some very specific job boards, some replays of web conferences, everything that we deem useful for the job seekers or the already employed people, but just looking for more information or maybe a different future. 57 of those 230 services are services made, designed, or delivered by Pôle emploi, and they encompass a lot of the same topics. In particular, we try to make ourselves services that would not be profitable for external providers, which means that when there's no money to be made, we step in as a public service to try to deliver the best public interest services. And as you can see, all the other partners, we have many of them, the providers. from big companies to public operators, startups, even a few individuals who made a service which we deemed really worthy of being exposed to the job seekers. What there is to know is, as we are working for the Open Innovation Department, we also provide some of the services with some of Pôle Emploi data, which makes some of the services way easier to use. For example, here with CV Designer, which is a service to make your own CV. If the user use the Connect with Pôle Emploi button here, they can actually type in their login and password for the Pôle Emploi account and not the provider. And this will transfer all the information for the CV from the Pôle Emploi database to the service. So it pre-fills the CV, and the users don't have to type in again all the information. To give you an idea about the most popular digital services we have, this top 5 is almost constant. Sometimes it moves a bit, but it's usually the same. So we have information about labor market. We have a service about to find a new company for which you can have a spontaneous application. This is based on AI and a lot of information that are processed to be able to detect which companies in which area are about to recruit. We have the resume builder, which I just talked to you about 1 minute ago, and then I will let you see the rest. But the last one is Pôle Emploi job board, which we can access as well from the Emploi store. Obviously, to list the services, we have a list of criteria that should be respected by the applicant service. It has to be relevant to the employment, to bring actual value to the user, and not just to be information with no value service. It has to be free to use. Sometimes we accept some freemium. Let's say, for example, that free templates are free, and you can pay to get a few more for the CV production. Has to be interactive and respectful of personal data. Once the service has been evaluated by our team, then we can publish it on the Emploi store. The team behind the Emploi store is currently made of 4 people: the project leader, who has an assistant product manager, and then we have 2 people coming from the Pôle Emploi agencies on temporary missions within the team. One of them will be in charge of rationalization and transformation, and the other one of run and quality. So at the moment, we have 4 people running the Emploi store. I'm not going to get into too much details, don't worry about this one. It's just to list the different tasks that this team of 4 people are performing. So basically manage the portfolio, manage the platform improvement, and do the promotion of the platform, both internally and externally. We had the big redesign last year. So we started with a lot of information and a lot of studies to be able to really define a good platform that would be useful to the users and more easy to use for them, makes more sense, easier to navigate, and so on. And this is how we came up with the customer journeys that I talked to you about earlier. Also, to promote the Emploi store, we are using different channels, both internally and externally. I'm not going to get into details about this. You will be able to review the presentations at a later date if you want to get into more there. Just know that it's important to have a promotion system organization ready to be used, so you can keep up the interest of the general public, and also internally, as our counselors within the agencies of Pôle Emploi are one of the main prescriptors for the job seekers to use the Emploi store. I can just point out to someone that in your case, this service would help you a lot. Just a few information. So this year, between January and September, we had 2.8 million visitors in total. Each visitor on average gets to a bit more than 2 services. So they come and they come back and they like the services which are there. And we have a bit more than 70% conversion rate. That is when someone lands on the description page for a service and then they decide to click on the button to actually access the service. And if you were to make your own Emploi store or something similar, of course, we listed a few things from experience now that it's been running for 8 years. So you should open your platform to everyone and not only job seekers, because that's a way also to prevent unemployment for people who are considering leaving their job to do something else. So they can train, they can get ready, they can really work on their project. And so they don't come back to the employment in the meantime, they just skip to a new job right away. I will let you as well read all those at a later date if you're interested. We will take questions a bit later. And I would like to thank you for listening. You can see our resumes here. And this is it for our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Antoine and Alexandre. It's a wonderful presentation. It's like a Google store for employment. It's quite impressive.
Something like that.
Let's go for the next presentation. Labor Market Information System, LMIS, and Data-Based Employment Services from Korea. The presenter is Dr. Gyun Kim, Senior Research Fellow, and also Executive Director of Planning and Information Bureau, Korea Employment Information Service. Dr. Kim, floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Lee. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Gyun Kim from Korea Employment Information Service. I specialize in research digital employment service. I was a pleasure listening to the presentation from Australia, Cambodia, and France earlier. Frankly, I was surprised to see how big this seminar has become. When I first suggested this gathering, I imagined a small post-COVID meeting to revitalize WAVES in the Asia-Pacific region. I want to thank the WAVES team, especially Humie, for helping with this seminar. Today, I will share about Korea's labor market information and the services that utilize the data. In our employment sector, actually, we don't talk about the labor market information often, but we have been talking about the potential and importance of digital employment service for a long time. Even our webinar's title is a digitalization of PES. So I felt the need for a comprehensive talk about the data behind these services, especially when making policies related to employment. It is essential to discuss how to collect and analyze and use labor market data to minimize the risks. Korea has put a lot of effort into developing reliable service based on the data. I think we have get more experience in this aspect than many other countries, which might serve as a useful reference for nation looking to set up similar employment services. Many of you might be aware our company, KEIS, is a national organization that gathers, analyzes, and digitalizes almost all job-related data in Korea and provide it to someone who needs it. We are responsible for various platforms from WorkNet, connect job seekers and employers, to HRDNet with the training information and more. Therefore, our company operates such a labor market information system, and we believe we understand its importance very well. Our WorkNet platform has been showcased in many countries, and several have shown interest in adopting a similar model. So I believe sharing how we produce and utilize our labor market data might help those of you in policy or service development. Unfortunately, I have only 15 minutes today, so I might be unable to go into every detail on the slide. Instead, I'll focus on the main features of Korea's LMIS. I'll be discussing these topics. In this presentation, I'll primarily discuss the several services based on the data, an essential aspect of LMIS. I'll skip detailed explanation about the changes in the labor market, technology, and environmental factors. I guess you are already familiar with them, so we will dive straight into the main point. Okay, why is labor market information necessary, and for what reason do we seek such information? According to the ILO definition, labor market information is defined to maximize the potential for formulating and implementing relevant policies and programs. Every decision-making process is accompanied by risks, and the information serves to minimize these risks. The data supporting policy decision is called labor market information, and the system designed for the efficient use of this information we called LMIS, Labor Market Information System. A diverse range of individual and institution require this information. This includes job seekers, companies, employment policymakers, public and private employment service provider, and even researchers studying these sectors. Moreover, this information is essential from various perspectives. Changes in the labor market don't just influence the labor market itself, but also impact the national economy. So continuously monitoring and being aware of these changes is very important. Many of you might be familiar with this term, labor market information. This one has a very broad meaning. It refers to all data arising in the labor market, including both demand and supply aspect. This information comprises administrative data generated from government various administrative activities and diverse data related to labor market participants, including age, education, skills, qualification, and more. From an economic perspective, this information can be considered as the most vital source for analyzing a country's labor market. Based on this information, labor, employment, and training policies are formulated. So minimizing potential risk is a decision-making process. Therefore, labor market information represent data that provide insight into the past, present, and possible future of the labor market. In Korea, these are the primary source of labor market information, including already mentioned administrative data that offer real-time insight. As mentioned earlier, this has job matching information, employment insurance data, and vocational training details. In addition, there's a survey data related to labor demand, forecasts concerning employment demand, and research on future occupation, things like that. Of course, various economic indicators, including employment and unemployment rate, also utilized to understand the labor market. This is the mentioned earlier, is a definition of LMIS. So now I will explain the basic characteristics of LMIS and the features of KEIS. Depending on each structure and level, the LMIS can be categorized in the several ways. This classification is made by Sorensen and Mars in 2016, and LMIS can be broadly divided into the basic, intermediate, and advanced level. This classification is based on the nature of the information and services built upon this information and the characteristics of information producer. Basic level, the labor market information system provides simple statistics gathered from administrative data and surveys. On the other hand, most advanced form of LMIS has multiple subsystems and signifies a big data-based information system where the collection, production, and evaluation of innovation can occur in real time. Naturally, this kind of system possesses the capability to offer tailored function to meet the diverse demand of users. So I would venture to say that Korea's WorkNet might have such an advanced form of LMIS. So when discussing LMIS, it's not just the ordinary information system. It needs specific component and characteristics. Actually, I made this framework with the World Bank. In this framework, we have a lot of stakeholders, include workers, students, business, policymakers, research groups, and then decision makers. These stakeholders provide and consume information and play a role in policy making at the same time. And the function of LMIS, it serves as an information system and service at the same time. The primary function is job matching, connecting labor market demand and supply. It also provides career guidance based on job requirement and competencies. Moreover, it supports the government in policy formulation and decision-making also. LMIS is also responsible for providing labor market information and analysis. Its key characteristics include relevance, reliability, efficiency, customer-centered, and comprehensiveness. These factors contribute to the success of LMIS each country. Several conditions must be met also to achieve such success. This includes various aspects like data collection, strategic marketing, and collaboration between different stakeholders, both public and private, definitely. Additionally, there should be a solid infrastructure in terms of technical support and institutional arrangement. Also, considering these factors, Korea's LMIS is highly developed and fulfill many conditions that I told you. Let's skip this slide because it's identical to what we discussed in the framework. This one is also, this one is the detailed information that I told you. So maybe you have a time, please read the details information. And actually, if I have enough time, I would like to explain the more detailed information how WorkNet is suitable for the advanced LMIS. But because of the time limit, I'm going to skip it. WorkNet is the key component of Korea labor market information system, and it's a prominent government-operated job information website. In the first stage, initially, we developed to provide administrative support for employment center, job center in Korea. And WorkNet has evolved into a nationwide platform that connects job seekers and employers through its crucial job matching function. It offers extensive information on job opportunity, occupational information, and career guidance. Also catering to various stakeholders, including job seekers, business, and other parties. Yeah, this one is the recent achievement of WorkNet. Yeah, well, actually, this one is in this slide. I would like to intend to explain each characteristics of WorkNet for each qualification as an advanced LMIS, but I'll skip until, yeah, I prepared too much. Yes. To save my time, I'm going to explain the service that utilize the gathered data. So I talk about the LMIS. We have to use this accumulated data to develop the services. The special service include an AI-based matching system, an employment trend monitoring system, and unemployment service performance management system, and AI-based vocational competency counseling service, and we call this job care service. First of all, one of the critical services is AI-based job matching. Job matching employs various techniques for a long time. Sometimes we use the hard match, soft match, sometimes we use the big data or CRM techniques. But recently, WorkNet has utilized AI job matching based on the job seekers' vocational competencies and job information. So job matching goes beyond the connecting job seekers and with the job opening. It provides job recommendation tailored to the characteristics of job seekers and recommend a suitable talent profile to employers also. Additionally, it offers job seekers guidance on resume writing based on the occupational information and provide employers with guideline on writing job posting to secure suitable candidate. So we give them a guideline how to write a job posting to find the right person for your job listing. The details are very extensive, so let's skip. So by extracting various information from job seekers' resume and job posting, we create a job dictionary by capturing the relevant keyword from each occupations. And the AI then utilize this job dictionary to establish connection between job seekers and job position based on the job category or training, qualification, and competencies. This approach called job ontology. Job ontology forms the foundation for AI-based job matching. So this is the core. We continuously enhance the algorithm to ensure optimal matching. As I mentioned earlier, one of the functions of labor market information is to minimize the risk associated with the policy decision by providing real-time labor market information. This function was essential during the COVID-19 situation. We have implemented an employment trend monitoring system to provide a daily update on the labor market. And this allows us to report to the government and presidential office daily, supporting the implementation of unemployment measures and crisis management policies for struggling companies. This system aims to provide policy decision makers with a comprehensive and timely understanding of the national labor market situation, and also enabling them to make quick and accurate decisions. Additionally, this function serves as an employment service evaluation management system. In Korea, public sector is the main for the employment service. As a result, there are about 102 employment centers nationwide. This system is designed to evaluate the performance of these employment job centers, assessing aspects such as a job placement and the execution of policy programs. So we evaluate job center based on the LMIS data. We have employment project performance assessment system also used to analyze an employment project performance. In Korea, over $23.5 billion is allocated annually to job-related initiatives by various government ministries to create and support employment opportunities. So this system evaluates these initiatives, project, identifies redundancies, and evaluate their effectiveness. So our company collect the data on job programs from all government ministries and estimate them based on this information and publish the result annually. This one is last. We have a service called Job Care. We discussed the job matching before, which is for individuals who have already chosen their desired occupation and enter the labor market. But this service is for people preparing to enter the labor market, including students who have not yet decided on a specific occupation, similar to training for healthcare before getting sick. Job Care helps people proactively prepare for employment by recommending trades based on their interest or previous experience and providing information on the labor market, such as wage and educational requirements, things like that. So this service relies on the consultation and to provide practical guidance. But counselors must have extensive knowledge of various occupations and the labor market, but in the current era, it's almost impossible. All counselors have all kind of possess occupational knowledge. So this system serves as a support system by providing information to counselors, enable them to conduct consultation more effectively. Oops. This one is pretty much about progress. So individual career competency is evaluated through diagnosis based on their specific characteristics, and then utilize various labor market information provided by the LMIS to recommend occupation, career paths, training opportunities, and also job listing also. Okay, I'll conclude my presentation. LMIS role and functionality can be considered boundless. However, achieving the desired level of information requires significant time, trial, and error, and substantial investment in information system also. It is very important to note that LMIS is not a panacea for solving all problems in the labor market. Instead, it serves as a tool to provide accurate market information and deliver tailored service based on the data. If you have any question regarding the information that I have, I'll do my best to answer it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. Profound presentation on Korean digitalization of employment services. Without further ado, we'll go over to the question and answer session. Ouch, is there Ouch with us? We lost Ouch, so she sent
Yes.
some of. Oh, Ouch, you there?
Yes. Sorry
there
for
is a
disconnecting.
No. There is a question for you. What is approximately the coverage with mobiles, laptops among the Cambodian population, in addition to digital literacy? Is the question for you.
Yes. Thank you for the question. I think I don't have the exact data on how many people that have the laptop or mobile, but I just want to answer that as you know that the Cambodia people, especially in the rural areas, most of them finished grade 8 or 9, something like that. So regarding the digital literacy, they have little knowledge. For example, they just can see, scroll, or something like that. But for example, like as the NEA website, it's require the user to complete some information to register or to complete the CV. So that's why there's not many people they use the website or application that's developed by the national employment agencies. And for those who can access the internet, they just have a look, but for the using to complete the information or detail, they are not willing to use our website. But anyway, it's because some function or some interface are still not to improve. That's why that's not much people use our website and application. Thank you.
I have one question for Alexandre. How many requests do you receive per month? There are many apps in the Emploi store.
Thank you for the question. It's actually a seasonal activity, with some months being more active than others. But in general, we get between 100 and 150 requests per year. And if I remember correctly, last year we had 126 in 2022.
Do you sometimes refuse the request?
I'm sorry, I didn't get your question.
Do you sometimes refuse the request?
Yes, actually, we refuse it most of the time. The average statistics is that we refuse 80% of the applications for listing. We are pretty strong about our criteria, and as you could see maybe in the slides, we do not make exceptions. Even if a director internally asks us to list the service of his friends, we would just refuse if the service is not valid.
You already answered this question on the chat box, but I think it's really important to share this question with the other participants. A really impressive digital transformation, in particular because it also seeks to support job changers, reskill, and change sectors, crucial in our fast-moving global labor markets. How are you measuring outcomes from this cohort compared to the more traditional user groups, and how is this shaping your evolving services? This is a great question.
Yes, indeed, I did answer in writing, but I'm not going to repeat exactly the same. The fact is we do not measure specifically the outcome for the different kinds of population there, because the whole idea behind the Emploi Store is to be a very open platform where anyone can come and see and find services to help them, whatever their situation. We have about 4% of our visitors who actually connect to their Pôle Emploi account when visiting the platform. Of course, when a service needs a connection for whatever reason, they do connect once they're on the external service. So we do not make those statistics directly. We have all the range of generic statistics about websites with number of clicks, visited pages, and so on. So that gives us a lot of information already. We have nationwide surveys as well to know about Pôle Emploi's image and the digital services, including the Emploi Store. So that gives us a lot of second-hand information. But it's a choice to not measure directly the outcome, because we want to keep the privacy of our visitors intact.
Thank you for the wonderful answers. For Gyun, you explained the development of a job matching system, AI-based, and counseling support system for your career development. That's quite impressive. It's a pretty highly technology advanced in KEIS. But now people are using so-called ChatGPT, AI generative pre-trained transformer for writing a resume or cover letter. Sometimes they use it for interview questions. What do you think? What next step for PES in terms of a new technology we should incorporate it in our services?
Thank you for the asking. First of all, we are trying to use a lot of techniques in our public employment service era. And even though we failed, we tried and tried again. And as you told us, ChatGPT is make us shocked, and we thought that, well, the direction of digital development is going to change, because we are aimed to develop our job care system to support the counselor, because as I told you, counselor cannot know well about every details of occupations. So in the physical area, counselor can handle with the job care with the job seekers. They can counseling the consultation easily and effectively. But in an online area, nobody can counselor for the job seekers' demand. So probably we can use the ChatGPT with helping people with counseling. So in an online situation, probably we can develop our system, job care system, with the combined with the ChatGPT, and it cover the consultation area. And also, as I mentioned in the presentation, I believe there's no limit area service using data. However, the Korean Ministry of Employment and Labor and the Korea Employment Information Service, our company, are focusing on a lot of integrating services. So most users, they don't care about individual services. They just want to see the result. The key is whether it can meet their need. So we are building a system to provide all requests and needs of the public through one single platform. This will become our next generation digital service platform, which we'll call Employment 24. The goal is to let users solve all employment-related online, anytime and anywhere through one platform. So we started building this system last year, and it's expected to complete and launch for the public by early next year. So once this platform is created, various services will be provided to customers through one single window centered on data. So customer will not need to know the process, and they can simply receive the service result. Thank you.
One other question is like this. WorkNet is great platform, and it contains 2.5 million job openings per year. That's about 1/3 of all job openings in Korea. And it's very important. Digitalization is making the labor market transparency very clearly. Everybody have an opportunity to apply for the job with digitalization. So it's very important. But still, there is like another 2/3 of the jobs in the private platforms, such as LinkedIn, Job Korea, or Incrud. How do you think to incorporate those job opening data into the public employment service system to more increase the labor market transparencies?
That's an excellent question. In fact, one way to increase the accuracy of labor market information and also clarity of labor market information, labor market is by collecting a lot of data, not only the public but also private, as you told, 2/3 of left information of labor market. Especially in Korea, private sector job information is often represent higher quality position than those in public sector. So understanding the labor market status using only public data has its limitations. And that's why we are collaborating with the major private job information provide to share data. And the job information they possess like covers most of the private sector's job in Korea. But for this agency, attractive job listings are a means, a method to attract more users or companies to pay a commercial fee. So they have no reason to freely share this information with our company or public sector. So we started sharing information with the private sector, I guess, in 2010 something. At the time, private data sharing companies found it very appealing to also share public sector's jobs. But as WorkNet grew, they became more cautious about its rise. And then they think that, well, they don't need public job information anymore. So nowadays, they are quite passive in terms of data sharing. So the key is to encourage them to actively share of information, job information with public. So we are thinking about a lot of things about these issues and looking for effective solution. So we try to encourage private agency sharing the information with us, and then we have to give them a lot of information or opportunity, work with the government, or we are going to make the platform which private company come to our platform using our data to have their own business. That is one of the way to cooperate with the private sectors. Thank you.
The last question would be like you are using the AI-based job matching services, right? The AI learn the machine learning, all the data of job matching, and then you recommend the job, the proper. Then there is issues that anti-discrimination. Sometimes all data is the AI produce recommend the matching that from the test data, which means that it could contain those factors. How do you eliminate those vectors? Do you have concern on these issues?
You know well about the fact, dark side of the AI-based job matching system. And well, still we have a problem. We cannot say that, well, our system is perfect. But so actually we are machine learning. We're using the machine learning to learn based on our data. But our data is not perfect. As you told, we have only public sector's data only. So, we cannot use only one algorithm to cover the whole result of matching system. So we are using more than three algorithms. Sometimes we using old way to match the job seekers and companies, and sometimes we are using keyword searching way to match the right answer. So we are trying to improve our algorithm more and more, and also the reason we are using the competency of when we are making an algorithm, the main engine is focusing on the competency, job competency. The way we are using that, we are trying to set up the recruiting culture based on the job competency. That is one of the ways. Still, we are having a trouble, but we are going to keep going that thing content. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are heading for the final session for closing remarks. I felt like 2 hours and 30 minutes just passed away in seconds. Thank you for every presenters and keynote speakers. You did all great jobs. And now we are going for the closing remarks from the WAVE's Secretariat. Yvonne-Marie, Yvonne-Marie, are you there?
I'm here. Yes, I am.
Go ahead, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lee. Dear speakers, dear participants, it was a pleasure for the World Association of Public Employment Services, WAPES, to collaborate with KEIS, the Korea Employment Information Service, on this important and timely conference. I imagine you will agree with me that we made a nice journey with our various stakeholders who gave us a lot of information, with the presentation of Michael Mwasikakata from ILO, who set the scene from the region, but also elsewhere. Also the contributions of our colleagues from Korea, Australia, Cambodia, and France. These presentations show us how PES are adopting and driving the technological transformation, exploiting digitalization to improve their effectiveness and efficiency. Overall, the modernization of PES goes beyond the adoption of technology. Indeed, it remains a means to streamline, automate, and improve operations. PES are also engaged in efforts to digitize other processes and services and adopt artificial intelligence tools and other advanced analytics depending on their maturity and their means. Doing so, they are enhancing their activities, particularly in profiling job seekers, identifying skill gaps, and matching job seekers and vacancies. The adoption of AI in PES activities provides many benefits, including better use of data and in a timelier manner. Limitations exist, including risk posed by poor quality data and the inability for these tools to consider intangible information on the client's situation beyond what exists in the input data. Data protection and privacy are also priorities in this process. We share a common value in PES: leave no one behind. PES must, and they do, take into account the persistent digital divide for disadvantaged groups in the use of these technologies. public employment services must ensure that all services are accessible, safe, and easy to use for all. Labor markets are constantly changing, requiring continuous adaptation of PES to meet the needs of all their users. One of the WAVE's mission is to facilitate exchanges between our members to share their best practice and learn from each other. As part of its activities, WAVE has the mission of the implementation of its long-term strategy. In the midst of the pandemic, we have developed a methodology for quality management built upon a structured self-assessment. In Asia Pacific, the Gyun project, supported by MHLW Japan, also supports our members through a performance assessment, including the implementation of a performance assessment framework that also takes into account the satisfaction of clients. I hope that with today's conference, we have provided you with valuable insights and ideas to better understand the digitalization of public employment services. And I express the wish that you will continue the dialogue and explore new opportunities. To conclude, I would like to express my sincerest thanks to our moderator, Dr. Lee, the Fumie Igashira, the project coordinator of the Gyun project, the speakers who provided us with new insight and food for thought, the Secretariat of the Executive Secretariat of WAVE, for their support, to all who made this online event possible, and the interpreters. Sometimes we forget them when we are online. The audience for their questions and debates. My hope is to meet you in person in the near future and discuss this and other topics of relevance for employment services. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're finishing the conference on the digitalization of public employment services. Yes. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.